Alright, we are on the draw with some Rug Delver. It looks pretty good, this hand. I can't say I really want to mulligan it. We have a couple threats, a few lands, some interaction. I'm going to keep. Looks good enough. The opponent mulled to 6, now they're scrying. Let's get some graveyards in the meantime. Scalding Tarn could be a lot of things. The opponent cracking it now is nice because that's going to narrow down what we're up against. Could very well be Burn. There are too many decks for me to even bother speculating before they get whatever they're getting. Watery Grave, looks like Death's Shadow. Delver of Secrets. Hoo boy. Okay. That's exciting. I'm pretty sure I just want to play a Steam Vents and get rid of that Delver. I don't really want to let the opponent untap with a Delver on board. I don't want them to be ahead on tempo. If we play our Delver, we're probably behind. Yeah. I don't want to match them play for sure. That doesn't necessarily disqualify following up their Delver with our Delver, but I think I just want to get rid of it. They don't have a turn 2 play, that's fine. We're probably going to drop one of these fetch lands just in case we need the mana. It also means we can scour later. We're probably getting an island with the Tarn, a forest with the Misty, so we're going to play the Tarn. If they don't get rid of Delver, maybe we keep the Delver Scry up, as opposed to fetching out an island and scouring ourselves. Steam Vents, Lightning Bolt, sure. They're being pretty aggressive with their life total here. I wouldn't say it's out of the question that they're playing both Delver and Death's Shadow. The opponent says, LOL. Yep, Pseudo Mirror. Oh, another Delver. Alright, well that's not one we can deal with. We could theoretically scour into a Disrupting Shoal, if that's something we're interested in. I suppose it is. We may as well give ourselves the option, or we could hold up Denial. I think that might actually be better, just in case they have some sort of 2-mana non-creature play they want to make here. No. Alright, well, we're going to Thought Scour now. Ooh, Snapcaster Mage. That's pretty good. Spell Snare, also a quality card. I think I might just go with Goyf here, holding up Spell Snare and Stubborn Denial. That sounds pretty good, as opposed to going for the Snap Bolt plan. We're not playing around Spell Snare with this play, because if I'm playing around Spell Snare, I'm probably leaning on Snapcaster Mage to ensure that Goyf resolves. But we do play around Mana Leak pretty nicely by being able to snare it. So I'm going to go get myself a forest. See if Goyf resolves. It does. That's fantastic. If they don't have a play here, we're in a good spot. If they do have a play here, could go either way. We're going to have to counter whatever removal spell they have for Goyf. Blood Crypt tapped is fantastic news. Third Delver of the game transforms off of Kolaghan's command on its first try. Good for that Delver. The other Delvers didn't exactly live long enough to take a look at things. We know they have 1 Kolaghan's command in hand. We're taking 3. It's going to be 13 all very soon. Pretty sure we're going to Snap Bolt on our turn. Snapbolt holding up Stubborn Denial and Spell Snare seems pretty good. Ooh, we also have Mandrills. How good can Mandrills be? The opponent has everything but sorcery, so the only card we really need to care about is this Serum Visions as far as our graveyard goes. We might be lagging. Okay, we're going to try to reconnect. Come on, Xmage. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm so proud of you, Xmage. Let's get the graveyards back up. I want to get in with this Goyf before we actually play a land. I don't want to hint at what we're doing here. I want to get in the red zone. I do believe I actually misclicked there and went for the Stomping Ground before going for combat, before we disconnected. But disconnecting caused Xmage to not register the misclick. So that was kind of neat. I don't want to shock with the Stomping Ground before we get in combat. It's just not necessary. And I don't want to make the Snap Bolt play before combat, just in case they have some way to deal with something. We don't want to give them that information. We're going to hold up the Steam Vents naturally. They don't need to know that we don't have any red cards in hand. Okay, Xmage. That's about enough of that. What is this message? Alrighty. Oh, they have their own Snapcaster Mage. Well, that's neat. We are going to go for the Spell Snare on that. The second one is theirs. That did totally throw me off for a second. They only have Kolaghan's Command left in hand, so we're good. Get the graveyard out one more time. Select Lightning Bolt. Yes. Knock on wood, if we can get through this match, I will be happy. Take out that Delver, and we're out of stuff to do. It's unfortunate that they can Kolaghan's Command back their Snapcaster Mage, or one of the Delver of Secrets. But then again, our board is looking nice. With the opponent at 9, I feel pretty good. Oh my lord. I think it's the internet. I don't believe it's Xmage this time. Alright, we're back in it. Hopefully with Xmage working. I do believe it's the internet having problems because people are syncing stuff. So it's highly likely that the internet just can't handle all of this. Ooh, the last card in their hand, last turn. Or I guess they could have top decked the Scalding Tarn. We don't actually know what their card last turn was. What did they get back with that Kolaghan's Command? Snapcaster Mage. Sure. That's not bad. The opponent's on a pretty quick clock here, though. And I am pretty happy with that. Serum Visions is probably the play. I don't think there's a reason not to Visions here. We could have the second Visions, that's fine. There's no need to play the Wooded Foothills. It has a non-zero value for bluffing, and more importantly, can be discarded to Kolaghan's Command. So we may as well hold on to it. We don't need the mana. We're going to get in there for 4, play a Mandrills, hold up Stubborn Denial. Our graveyard's juicy enough that I don't think we need to bother doing anything special. Oh, they scooped. Okay. That works. I was wondering why it stopped letting us delve. That was weird. Alright, cards we want against Grixis Delver. Vapor Snag's good against Tassiger. EE seems bad. I want at least 2 Blood Moons. Blood Moon's pretty good against them. Their mana is fairly greedy. Not as greedy as Grixis Control. I don't actually think Grixis Delver runs any manlands, but it does run plenty of non-basics, and it has some heavy mana costs. I don't want Anger because it's expensive. I don't mind a 1 of Pyroclasm. They might be playing Young Pyromancer, in which case I almost certainly want the second. Basically, Grixis Delver is definitely running 4 Delvers and 4 Snapcaster Mages, so I think a Pyroclasm's fine. Huntmaster's a great threat. Ceremonious Rejection isn't doing anything here. Spell Snare looks great, and I don't think we're going to worry about artifacts or enchantments. We're going to start with these 7. What do we want to take out? Forked Bolt looks good here. Traverse is fantastic. I could see cutting Disrupting Shoals. Maybe a number of Thought Scour. I want the Bolt effect. Knuckleblade seems pretty good. Mandrills is going to have at least some trouble against Delve Fatties. So I suppose we could cut 2 of those. Probably at least 1 Thought Scour with that. Yeah, we'll take out the Disrupting Shoals. We're going to turn into a mid-range mirror here, so I don't think we want to give up the cards for the small amount of tempo there. I don't know if we want both Vapor Snags and the Dismember. Maybe I shouldn't be bringing in a Vapor Snag here. I do think I want all the Bolt effects. The Mandrills seem pretty good. Let's cut 1 more Scour. Scour's good, but this is going to be a pretty interactive game. And we are cutting Mandrills. Maybe another Mandrills? I don't really know how low I want to go on as far as threats go. Maybe we cut Knuckleblade just because of how likely it is for them to have Terminate. Knuckleblade's not going to be great against Terminate. They are certainly running Fatal Push, but maybe we want more Mandrills because of that. No, I'm going to keep Knuckleblade instead of the 3rd Mandrills because Delve Fatties. That's going to be my rationale there. Knuckleblade does cost more if we're delving a bunch, which means Terminate's more of a blowout, but I think we're going to play around Delve Fatties, and maybe we cut 1 Denial. I think I could live with that. Let's give it a go. See how it plays out. On the draw with Rug Delver against Grixis Delver. I like the Delver mirrors. They're fun. I like all the interactive matchups. Plenty of decision points going on. We are waiting. There we go. This is our hand. This is going to be a keep. We're going to fetch out a Stomping Ground, get an island off of Traverse. It's not ideal. I think I want 2 blue sources with this hand, but I don't want to fetch out a Breeding Pool and Traverse for an island. So I think that's going to have to be the line. We do get to draw a card before we have to decide any of that, so that's nice. The opponent's starting on a Thoughtseize here. It is possible that they had that in their 60, but I do believe Grixis Delver plays a non-zero amount of that in the sideboard. Or at least they might. They definitely might. The opponent took our... I'm blanking here. Lightning Bolt. Alright, so they probably have a Delver or something. We top deck to Serum Visions. I'm still going to go for the Traverse out an island using Stomping Ground play. Our mana's not going to be very efficient next turn, which does bother me. The opponent has a basic Swamp, meaning Blood Moon's going to be worse. Do I just get the Breeding Pool and Traverse out the island? And then we can Serum Visions, trying to find our red source. Let's do that. We don't have any red cards. I'm going to go for it. This is not a line I think I've ever taken. Let's see where we end up. Exploring the Temur frontier. The opponent knows about everything but visions. Bloodstained Mire. And a pass. The opponent's probably holding stuff up. I'm pretty sure we're just going to Visions here. Or maybe we just play Delver. I don't want to hold up Mana Leak. I kind of do want to hold up Spell Snare. Although I guess Snapcaster Thoughtseize isn't great. Let's just play Delver. Ooh. Do they have a Mana Leak here? If they do we even try to interact with it? I don't know. We have two ways of interacting with Mana Leak right now. Not that I want to put them next to each other, because that's going to confuse me as to what the opponent knows we have. It's an Opt! Opt is currently legal. I don't have the Ixalan picture of Opt. I apologize. I might not even have the regular Opt. Or rather, the original. The opponent is cantripping on our turn, scrying one, and then drawing a card. That's exciting. That is a card I've considered for this deck. I have no idea if I actually want it. At this point, we actually have the ability to denial an end-step Fatal Push, which is pretty interesting. What did the opponent do? They bottomed and then drew a card. Do I want a Visions here? I'm going to hold stuff up. Snapcaster Opt looks pretty good as well. Not that they probably want to do that on our turn. We can interact with some stuff, though, which is pretty good. For those of you who do not know, Opt is 1 blue mana. It is an instant. And it reads, scry 1, draw a card. Sort of like a Serum Visions. Bolt is something we cannot interact with at the moment. Not favorably. So maybe we should have gone for the Visions. It's definitely more conservative, given that we have definite value out of that play. Kind of makes me wish my Visions was an Opt. We have 4 card types in the bin, so I actually could just traverse out whatever I want here. Which probably is a red source. Blood Moon isn't looking great, so I don't think we're going to play around it at all out of our deck. It's entirely possible the opponent has one, but c'est la vie, life goes on. At least we have an island. I'm not going to traverse out a forest here. The flip side of that is Traverse could be something even better. We could get a threat with Traverse, but I think at this point I just want my red source. We're going to use Visions to try to find our threats. I wonder if they counter this. If they have Surgical, they could punish us a good bit. At which point we probably just get the basic mountain to get our red source anyways. As is, we have the option to take 2 and hold up stuff, which seems pretty good. Probably getting a Steam Vents here, to be quite honest. I don't think I need the double green, and I kind of want more blue mana. We're going to Visions. We found a threat. Let's bottom the Mana Leak. We also found an answer in the form of Dismember, which looks pretty good. Dismember is quite good against Grixis Delver. A lot of their cards are X5s, at least the ones we're worried about. Dismember's a great card. I love this thing. It's certainly painful. Definitely breaks the color pie. I can live with that, though. Given that Temur traditionally has problems with fatties, I'm pretty okay with having an answer to fatties in my deck. Certainly one that's more permanent than the likes of Vapor Snag. Here's a Tassiger. We're going to go for... Oh, we can't Mana Leak this. Whoops. I was going to say we're going to try to Mana Leak it because they can't pay for leak. And then if they have an answer to the leak, we can Dismember on our turn. As is, we're just going to have to go for the Dismember. The opponent is tapping 3 lands to keep Lightning Bolt in their graveyard. They know about Huntmaster. They also know about Spell Snare, to be fair. We're going to let this resolve and try to Dismember it. Hopefully they don't have a Dispel. I would not put it past them to board into Dispel. Pay life, pay life. That creature, that mana. How do we do? If they have the Dispel, we're in a bad spot. They don't. It's a -1/0. That hits the bin via state-based actions. What do we got, deck? It's a Hooting Mandrills. That's pretty fantastic. Let's delve 5. Having Snare plus Denial or Leak Up seems excellent. The Traverses can go, given that we no longer have Traverses in our deck. By the same logic, we no longer need Scalding Tarn. Then again, they don't have any lands in the bin, so let's get rid of Delver. Snap Dismember seems pretty good. So does Snap Bolt. Let's get rid of Visions. I'll just get rid of the Tarn. I'd rather have these two than the land. It's not that unlikely that somebody hits a land, and being able to snap back either of these spells offers us a lot of utility. Mandrills is a pretty great threat to have when we have this much counter magic in hand, specifically because the opponent won't be able to pay for Mana Leak for a subsequent Delve Fatty unless they have a Thought Scour. Let's do some math there. If they have Land Drop and then Thought Scour, 3 cards are going to hit the bin. They'll have 4 mana up, 5 in the bin. They will definitely be able to pay for Mana Leak. On a Tasigur, I think. Yes, on a Tasigur. On a Gurmag Angler, I think they're going to be 1 short. They do know about these 3 cards. They don't know about Denial. The opponent just passes the turn. They said something. You know Delve is broken when limited cards are being played in Modern. Delve is fantastic. I absolutely agree. Vapor Snag's great for us here because we are ahead on board. If we didn't have this Mandrills out, it would be pretty bad. As is Vapor Snag. If we Vapor Snag one of the opponent's creatures, we will have a 2-turn clock on our hands, which is definitely something I appreciate. A lot of tempo cards in our hand. Spell Snare drops off once the opponent's no longer casting 2 CMC spells. Then again, we're playing against Grixis Delver, and really Modern in general has a lot of great 2 CMC spells. Mana Leak drops off. Denial's only good if we have a good threat. I'm going to play this land, but we're not going to tap out for Huntmaster here. We're already winning, and there's no reason to tap out for Huntmaster, allow the opponent to terminate Mandrills, and bolt the Huntmaster. Here it looks like the opponent's going to go for Snap Bolt to deal with the Mandrills. I do believe we're just going to snare the Snapcaster Mage. That seems like the best line here. They do know about these 2 cards, but they have to play around. They have to play into it anyways. Mana Leak or Denial? I think we're going to use the Mana Leak here. Let's grab a basic forest. We may as well. We're going to Mana Leak here because I actually don't really care if the opponent has something along the lines of a Tasigur. We're just going to Vapor Snag it. Can we get our message in? They're already gone. Anyways, we won the counter war. Mostly because Spell Snare is more efficient than Snapcaster Mage. Also, we put the onus on the opponent to act, given that we were clocking them, which is something we do well. Given that we had a creature and they didn't, we forced them to be the first one to tap mana to cast spells, meaning that they paid 2 mana for something that wasn't a counter, and then we were able to pay 3 mana for counters, and they only had 2 mana left for counters, and thus we countered their spells. They took another 4 on that turn. They would go down to 5, and I guess they just didn't have any more action and didn't really want to continue being slowly beaten by a Mandrills. Anyways, hopefully you all enjoy that video. I apologize for the rough patch we had in the middle there, or I guess more towards the end of Game 1. We got through it though, which was pretty fantastic. I'm really happy about that. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.